Back in 1862, Congress passed the Morrill Act, and that established an institution in all 50 states, and they termed these the 1862 land grants. So each state received a portion of land, and they were allowed to construct a college on that portion of land, or else sell the land in order to create a college.
So being at a land-grant institution, a tribal college, for me, I've seen the intense place-based and culturally grounded knowledge systems and how everything that is done here at the College of Menominee Nation is based in that Menominee culture.
That means being able to have our young people educated here at home where it's necessary. Tribal communities have a tendency to be a little bit more underfunded just in general. There's not a lot of resources here, so we have a lot of issues with brain drain where people feel like they need to go other places to get educated, they need to go other places to make a change in the world. But thanks to the land grant institutions, specifically the tribal colleges, we don't have that problem anymore.
For the College of Menominee Nation, we want to be culture-based but also learning-based. So we're here to educate not only the Native American population in the area, but everybody is free to come to get education here. And we're trying to instill our cultural values while maintaining a Western approach to a learning environment.
So one of the main projects I've been working on was the Shifting Seasons Community Workshop Series, where we went to different communities on the reservation to talk about climate change and different impacts that climate change will have specifically for these areas.
Over the course of the last couple of years, I found that there are plenty of community members who really want to do the right thing and really want to live sustainably, really want to live in line with Indigenous values about the land. But on a practical standpoint, they just didn't know how. Thankfully, through CMN, I was able to address that problem a little bit by working with some of the community members as well as some of the faculty and the staff here. And what that allowed me to do was to get a very long campaign so that we could actually reach out to the community and get the younger people engaged.
This past summer we had the Youth Heritage Program where we recruited a number of Menominee high school students to work with the program with Dr. David Overstreet in Historic Preservation, where the students were involved in archaeological excavations, identifying artifacts and raised garden beds. I think this is important to the Menominee community and to the students because it teaches these students about culture and it teaches them about our ways of life. I think that builds self-esteem among these students and also helps with their identity. I think when you have a sense of identity at a young age, it goes a long ways.
I think one of the values or cultural understandings for our relationship between people in the land is attributed to Chief Oshkosh. When I think of Chief Oshkosh and some of the values that he as a speaker of our tribe has shared, I think of a statement he made in an 1856 council meeting where when presented with an issue, his response was, "I wish to pursue a course which will be best for the children who will come after us."
Whenever I think about the Menominee community of the future, to me what that looks like is sustainable agricultural production. We have people who are working out in the fields. You know, we have grandmothers and grandfathers who are out there with their grandchildren working on these smaller gardens with traditional gardening techniques in there, passing on that wisdom, the seed-saving wisdom, and also maintaining their health while they do it. I see clean, comfortable, safe, warm housing that's powered by renewable energy, that's built around Menominee community ideas of how we should be organized. I see a place that has a robust, localized economy that isn't built simply on exploitation and extraction, but on sustainability. And I see the college as a central part of that.
The earth does not belong to us, it belongs to our future generations. We're only borrowing this land from our kids and from 7 generations. We have to think smart when it comes to land management, when it comes to how we're using our resources and how we're protecting the land. The future that I envision for both my tribe and the Menominee tribe is that we are going to have food sovereignty. We're going to be able to grow our own food, be self-reliant on our own food, not have to have the negative impacts of busing or trucking food in, which adds to the carbon footprint of our nations. We're going to show our children how to be self-sufficient, how not to rely on big government anymore, how we can take steps, even in our small little corner of the world, to make it a better, greener place.
Taking those ideas of our forests and really moving them forward into other ideas. And I see the college as a central part of that.
Yes, so I'm Diana Solenberger, and I am the Director of Community Engagement. So I've been with Illes Slavic College about 6.5 years now, and in that time I've been managing the Cooperative Extension Program.
So my name is Justina Wilhelm. I'm the Dean of Institutional Advancement here at Illes Slavic College, and I have had the opportunity to work here for 2 years.
Hi, my name is Lorene Lynn. I have been a part of this project, the Heritage Tundra Garden, for the last 4 years.
My name is Mary Jane Litchard. My Inupiaq name is Anukshak, which means little wind. Our ancestors, the stories I heard from elders was that in the old days, people used to just walk around. It was so warm. I guess everybody was in the land of Africa, in one land mass, and it was so warm. They just go and collect and eat nuts and just eat off the bushes. And then there was a disaster that happened that split the continent, that split the land, and all of a sudden they had to be up in the north. This group of people, and they said a lot of animals were dead on the ground, and they were cold. And they had to skin the animals and start wearing the skins and start living inside of caves. And they said that some messenger came and told them that if they watch the animals, see what kind of plants those animals eat, then they could start collecting the plants that won't kill them. And so people became very observant, learned how to make nets from spider webs and catch fish, and how they saw leaves floating in the water, and so they start making umiaks or kayaks that can make them float in the water, and they start watching how animals eat, and they even watch how the squirrels lived underground and be nice and warm, and so they start making sod home igloos. And learned from trial and error.
So Cooperative Extension is a program that we've created that really helps engage the community. And so at the point when I was hired, Cooperative Extension had only been in existence for about a year. And so I kind of took what the coordinator before me had started, and we really kind of took it and ran. And so it was really, Cooperative Extension was a way that we could get out, assess what our community really wanted, and then try and meet those needs.
So since we are Alaska's only tribal college, we value our Inupiaq culture with involving the elders, involving the youth, and allowing the opportunity to have community conversations, community opportunities that allow our students to work with the community as well as the community coming to our college. So with the Cooperative Extension funding, we've had the opportunity to do this project with the Tundra Garden. This has been, from my history, I've only been here 2 years, but it has been a very progressing program that has taken many summers to put on.
This project started out of a need for people here to be able to learn or reacquaint themselves with the traditional plants of the area. So every plant in here is actually a wild plant from the tundra. So garden is somewhat of a difficult word to use because people usually think of cultivated plants, but these are actually plants collected from the tundra around here, and many of them are from traditional uses or have been used for traditional uses. So we had a crew of teenagers every year who live here that worked for us, and we would go out onto the tundra, learn the plants, talk about them, and collect them and carry them back across the tundra and bring them here. The technique we used of cutting the plants is a traditional technique that's been used for a long time, and it comes from both cutting sod for sod houses, but also people have always kept small tundra gardens here traditionally. And the idea is that you cut out a piece of sod with the soil intact and the roots and bring it here. The reason we built mounds, originally this whole area was completely flat. We built mounds in order to allow the right type of hydrology and soil and slope and those kinds of things that these different plants like.
I'm so glad that it was successful, that some of the majority of the plants did survive, and Laureen was I was so surprised how much willow water she made and generously gave those plants so they could survive the shock of being transplanted, and I'm so glad they survived.
So I was able to teach the kids the traditional sod cutting technique from the ground, move the sod out. We brought in soil, built mounds, and then brought plants back and put them onto the mounds so that people now can come and enjoy them and learn the plants locally.
So far it's been really well received. I think this is a project that's just going to keep growing. To be honest, because this is the year that we just did our grand opening, we're just starting to see the impact. But what I keep hearing is that people are really interested in plants and they really like getting out on the land. There's a peace that comes when you're out on the land, and that's something that a lot of our community members keep telling me they're excited about. So we do these events and they said, you know, I really enjoyed that. Can we do this more? So I think the impact is that it's helping people build that relationship with plants again.
So one thing that we've seen that's been really fun, since we put in all these walkways and brought in the plants, and since we've put up these signs, we've seen a lot of traffic from the community come through this area. Kids on bikes, people walking, people stopping and taking a look at what it is that we've done. And it's been really fun to see everybody enjoying this space so much and getting to know these plants.
I think for our future plans, we have a lot of different ideas. We've been doing a lot of brainstorming in areas such as creating books or pocket guides for people to take out and hunt down some greens for themselves to take home, creating more classes. So it's important to bring back the knowledge about plants, is because the plants in our area, they grow because we need them. And they have the perfect vitamins for our environment. They're perfect for us, and it's important that our people, eat what we have on the land. It's our perfect garden.
So I think our community, what we are seeking is the bridge between the Western and the traditional. And so it's finding the way, and I think Ilissavik College really sits right between there, and it has the strength to pull both ways and pull them together and really have a strong traditional community that has embraced technology, infrastructure, education, and is just really powerful.
Kuyanak Bak.
Kuyanak is thank you, and then Kuyanak Bak is thank you very much.
I'm Benita Litzen, Director of the Land-Grant Office here at Denny College. I have been working here for 14 years developing our land-grant programs. And one of our successful programs is our sheep, wool, meat, and meat production program. We've been working with farmers and ranchers on improving the quality of their sheep herds. And so that's kind of what we've been doing across the board.
The beginning in our heritage in Navajo Nation as we were raised with our parents, grandparents, it's the traditional wise that we had sheep, and we were raised with sheep, and then what attending to as going through our a younger age into the school age, and so that was our heritage of raising sheep on the reservation to maintain as a livelihood of the Navajo Nation, and that's what we were used for our own used as our food source as well as our clothing, and then for the selling the byproduct to buy groceries through the trading post. And that's how we were raised, so that's what enticed to the use of our heritage to maintain this type of livestock in our lives.
So some of the things that we concentrate on are really working with our farmers and ranchers on improving their current practices. So what we find, our farmers and ranchers have been doing this for generations, but as we go into this new modern time, it allows for a lot of things that needs to be, I guess, tweaked or updated in regards to like record keeping, identifying, breed, the quality of your herd, and things like that. So that's something we concentrate on with our farmers and ranchers, and try to have them access new programs that might be applicable to them to improve those practices. So our staff here at Dene College, we consist of 6 right here. So what we're trying to do, Navajo Nation is so large that we're trying to develop these regional agricultural hubs, because agriculture is so different across the Navajo Nation. We have some success with wool marketing program, and now we're concentrating on meat production. So how do we get our local foods, local meats into maybe the local grocery stores? How do we get a little bit more money to our producers so that they can sustain themselves for the next generation or pass this on to their family members?
Some of the wool that is brought in isn't as fine or isn't as good quality as a commercial buyer or market side. So we said, you know what, let's bring in a breed that can help assist with some of our producers. So we looked into New Mexico State. New Mexico State had this breed that they actually brought in from Australia. So the animal that they're looking at is what they call a Sam Ram. It's actually an animal that comes out of Germany, and then it got brought over to Africa, and then Australia picked it up. So when Australia picked it up, it was called South African Meat Merino. That's what it's called. So SAM is what it stands for, as a Sam Ram, which is actually a dual purpose animal. So it provides both fine wool for you and meat also. So it's actually where a Rambouillet provides the meat, the Merino provides the wool, the fine wool. So both of them put together, that's what we kind of end up with.
We got in touch with the Navajo Community College, the Dene College here in Sahili, enticed with that we got interested to see how you can look forward to have that improvement in your livestock, to see if we could be able to raise our sheep and do the quality in their product of wool sufficiency and then the meat products. So that's what we were. That's when we ran into the Dene College. The representative from the Grand Office here, Mr. Felix Neas, was the one that came by, was talking about, so we got interested. The main focus was on the wool aspects of it as well as the meat product of it. So that was what we were aiming to do, so what we have done, and we have been going with them for the past couple, 3 to 4 years, and then it is showing them.
Well, right now the main thing I think is as far as us having to travel out of state to go get our rams, that to give to the producers. We have to drive out to Corona, New Mexico to get that, and then we have to go out of state to get it slaughtered. So, that's kind of the obstacles right there. And then some of the producers have their own kind of time schedules, and we're trying to put them on a schedule as far as on a calendar on when we deliver the rams and pick up the rams. And then finding a store, like we're trying to do like Lowe's, Bashas', we're trying to work with them as far as after we get the meat process. So those are the challenges. We have to go out of state to get those kind of resources. So I think for us, it'll be a lot easier if we have one locally, so we don't have to travel and spend more money to get what we want. I think some of the things are the quality of the sheep right now. Just looking at the new lambs that were just born, last year, they're almost as big as the ewes, their moms. So I think that's really good. And then as far as the sheep, they look really healthy. And then just looking forward to the upcoming years, when their flock starts growing even bigger and all one breed. So I think that's going to be having quality sheep around here locally, and then working with all these producers that are, that have that same goal and mindset to work with us. And then for the students, they're getting hands-on training as far as vaccination, as far as learning how to deal with sheep, what to look for, as far as sheep management, ram management, taking care of sheep and livestock in general. So they're learning a lot from it. Okay, I think the good thing that really inspires me as far as doing some of these workshops is that we get to teach, different communities, and we get to meet new people too as well. They're older than us, but it seems like we're teaching them a lot of things, and they're really inspired by what we're teaching them. So ram management is just, we're basically teaching them what to look for when they're purchasing a ram, and then what kind of ram will work for them as far as commercial, like the SAM rams that we use, that we're telling them that it's going to be a dual purpose lamb, sheep, and it's going to be high price in meat, high price in wool. And then we're not trying to tell them what kind of breed to raise either. We're just trying to teach them how to pick your ram and what you're looking for as far as the posture and the healthiness of the ram.
So that's why I like to see this to go somewhere and keep it going and keep the momentum going and raising the livestock and live a good life for our people.